So, good morning, friends. I believe enough of participants are here, and everybody, I welcome you all to this particular training session related to business communication. And as you can see on the slide that has been represented over here, we talk about communication skills a lot. When we talk about communication skills, often we have studied, we have come to know that communication is really very important. So instead of detailing about the concept, I want to know from you people what exactly you people have understood by the term communication. Do you really think that this training is going to help you people? In what perspective? What is your expectation? Let us build that small expectation building exercise can be done right now so that we all are on the same page. We all can serve each other. We all can become a facilitator wherein I learn from you people and you are going to learn through my experiences that I'm going to share in the course of time. So, hi everyone. I welcome you all to this first session of business communication skills, wherein we are going to discuss about business communication and its importance in our day-to-day life. Particularly, it plays a major role when we talk about the role of managers, right? So when I say manager, I'm not talking about a manager who's working in an organization. I'm talking about the managers who are dealing with different situation, and then how do they handle the different situation in their day-to-day life, right? So can I come to know about a brief introduction of all the participants, whosoever are participating in this particular session? So the mic is open to you all. Can you at least introduce yourself and can you please let me know who you are? What is your expectation, please?
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning.
Ma'am, myself, Gunashekar, ma'am. I'm pursuing my BCom second year, and since have two plans in my life. One is to become an IPS officer, as well as once I join into a civil services. Later on, I want to continue with the business. So I want to learn these communication skills, ma'am, so that it brings a good bond among all my colleagues who work along with me, all my employees, so that there is a good bond, so that I can learn how to communicate with them and how to do the task efficiently and effectively, ma'am. So I'm here.
Wonderful, Gunashekar. I am really proud that my future, like a future of this particular nation called India, is bright because now you have very clear goals in your life, isn't it? You want to serve the organization, you want to serve people, you want to serve community. And when we talk about serving people and community, a lot of talking goes on, isn't it? You're going to interact with the people of different cadres. You're going to have communication with the ground floor to the top level management. Yes, of course. So this is going to definitely help you a lot because we are going to talk not only about how do we communicate, we are also going to speak at length about what are the common things which we neglect. Generally, what we know is good, but apart from knowing what there are common parameters of knowing these are the things that we should know, these are the things that we should not know. But do we really follow those do's and don'ts? So, Gunashekar, I welcome you to this particular training session. And I'll assure that, of course, after the end of this particular introductory program, you will be surprised at how we neglect our communication. And we understand that communication is important, but still we do not value it, right? So, of course, we are going to do that. Thank you for giving that brief introduction, and I really wish you good luck. I want you to see young boys and girls like you all taking care of our nation. Something else from the other candidate too. Thank you, Guna.
Good morning, ma'am. Myself, Supriya. I'm pursuing BCom. I want to become a CA. I have already attempted one. I was not able to succeed in that, so I'm writing a next exam. So for me, communication is when I become a chartered account. So when I have to communicate, and it should be very crystal clear to others. So I had joined the session, ma'am.
Oh, wonderful, Supriya. Again, chartered accountant. Yes, of course, you know that it's not only about numerical data as well as sharing the finances, right? You will be dealing with companies. I don't know whether you are aware of this or not only individual, there are corporates who are looking for chartered accountant, and then the corporates, when they deal with, they are dealing with the different stakeholders, like you may be dealing with banks, you may be dealing with different multinational organization, you are going to deal with the policymakers, that is the government, the public entities. So of course I'm really proud to see people like you all joining. And of course, when you talk about not clearing your examination, please remember the first attempt is always hit and try. All right. So if you have done that, excellent, because now you understood what are your plus, what are your minuses, what are the areas in which you have to really work out. And I really wish you good luck for your next attempt of exam. Thank you for introducing yourself. Similarly, can I come to know something from, I see here Chetan Gaud. Chetan Gaud, you are here with us. Sunanda, you are here with us. Can you briefly introduce yourself?
Good morning, ma'am. Myself Sunanda. I'm
Good morning,
pursuing BSc
Sunanda.
Chemistry. I'm pursuing BSc Chemistry, ma'am. So I just want to know about remaining branches related to business. So I recently joined the course.
Once again, Sunanda, great thing done by you, because generally I have seen, particularly in our country, we are never being told about cross-sectional branches. Of course, as a chemistry student, you are going to pursue your uh, bachelor's in this particular program, but after that, you're going to associate with one of the organization. And organization means dealing with people, dealing with emotion, dealing with personality, right? So this course is definitely going to help you for sure. I'll make sure that you people are going to understand the concept, and every way management is part and parcel of our life. We cannot exclude management from our life, right? So let us understand how communication will help us to become good managers in future. When I say managers, I am repeating this. It's not working as manager in an organization. How do we manage our jobs, our responsibilities in a better way, so that we can have a better relationship, a better network, a better value for our own life and for our own human personality, right? So I welcome you. Can I quickly get the brief from Lavanya? I see you here, dear. Can you quickly give a brief introduction of yours, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Hello,
Good morning. Good morning, Lavanya.
ma'am. So I'm Lavanya from St. Francis College. So currently I'm pursuing second year BCom, and I'm from Tumkur. My native is Tumkur, but I'm residing in Bangalore, ma'am.
So why BCom, Lavanya?
BCom, ma'am, as because I'm interested in business and accounts, ma'am,
Oh, you
and
are
also
really are
in
interested.
commerce. Yes, ma'am. In
Or
commerce.
should I give you another statement? You want to earn lots of money. You want to manage money of others, and that's the reason you are pursuing commerce, right?
Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Okay, so welcome to this particular training session on business communication skills. I see one more candidate. I believe Chetan, I did not hear anything from you. So can you briefly and quickly introduce yourself? I see Chetan is unable to communicate. All right, fine. We will ask him to join us sometime later. So let me give you a quick glimpse to do in these 4 weeks of schedule. So, for example, when we are talking about business communication skills, particularly for the manager, our first and most important job would be to make you all understand what exactly good communication is. We all are communicating. Every now and then we communicate. Even right now, I'm communicating with you, and other end, you people are listening to me. And when you are listening, it's again part of communication. This communication is going to help us not only to earn money, but also to build up relationship, to build value, to also add knowledge and information. Because when we talk about working in an organization, be it a public or private organization, what I have seen in my career of 20 years, most of the time we communicate without thinking. We communicate without giving a thought what I am saying, whether it is right or wrong, how bad or how good it is, whether it is going to create that right empathetic impact on the mind of the listener or not. Am I trying to pitch in the right way or not? And due to these questions, the listener, or I must say the audience in front of whom you are speaking, they're always in confusion. There is a state of dilemma, there is a state of confusion, and they tend to misunderstand. They tend to get some information, but again, the information is into tits and bits. And because of these tits and bits of information, what happens? People are unable to get the clarity. So try to understand that when we talk about business communication skill, we have to work out on a couple of aspects. There are four important segments whenever we say communication. I'm not talking only about English. Even if I'm speaking Kannada, or even if I'm speaking Telugu, or even if I'm speaking any other vernacular or foreign languages, to be very honest, 6,500 languages across the countries, wherever people are speaking, they always use the four different segments of communication: listening and speaking, reading and writing. And probably that is the reason why, when you are willing to move to different countries, there are different tests. You must have heard about TOEFL, you must have you might have heard about IELTS, you must have heard about the different language examinations that are conducted by the different entities in order to judge, in order to test whether you are strong in the communication skill or not. Right now, Guna was saying that he wants to become certain public officer, and when you are when you are appearing for any competitive exam, you will see that, of course, maths is a major part. Reasoning and logical again goes simultaneously as a major part, but equal emphasis is given on your verbal communication. That is, how well do you understand, how well do you read, how well do you try to reach up to the conclusion so that you can sort out the problem. So what I'm trying to make you all understand is, as a student of this particular training session, we all must work on improving our listening abilities, speaking abilities, writing ability, and reading ability. If we do not focus on these four equally, we will fail in future course of time. So when someone says, I'm very good at communication, that means they are saying that they are good at listening, as in they are good listeners, they are good speakers, they can understand very well whatever they write, as well as they can read whatever somebody has written. So, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, these are the four dimensions of communication. Now, every one of us, we believe we are great communicators. Only in some or the other language, we fumble. We tend to lose our confidence, and that is the reason why we do not present, we do not portray our thoughts in a right way. But is this the fact? If I ask you a question, or if I give you a topic to speak, how much information do we have related to that particular topic, even though if you are speaking in your mother tongue? Are you able to really communicate in a better way with others when given a topic? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. When is that yes? When you have the information. When is it no? When we do not have the information. So, what is the crux behind communication? I always keep on emphasizing three C's: content, confidence, and communication. So, please remember, in all these forthcoming sessions, I want you all not only to focus on content, content is what I'm going to present, but simultaneously work out on communication. And I'm reiterating this. When I say communication, I'm talking about those four different dimensions. Listen carefully. Speak up whenever you are asked to speak. Otherwise, you should keep continuously pondering, thinking, and then speaking to yourself. If any written material is there, go through it. If you are given any kind of reading instructions, go through it. Otherwise, what happens? You are going to just spend your time, whereas the real intelligence, the real understanding, the real knowledge, which actually people share, we do not grab. So let us move ahead. Let us start with this complete process of communication by making people understand that communication is, of course, very important. But apart from communication, there are certain things that we have to practice in our day to day life. So, moving ahead, when we talk about the learning outcomes in today's session, what is it that you people are going to learn? We all are going to discuss about effective communication skills and how one should improve in order to improve yourself. What are the steps? What are the things that we have to keep in our mind? What should be taken into consideration will be discussed, will be detailed. The second topic, again, which is very, very important, is understanding audience, because whenever we say communication, we are talking to someone, we are speaking to someone, probably we are talking to ourselves. So therefore, whenever we say communication, we should know exactly what the audiences are thinking about, and how do they perceive our speech, or how do they perceive our information, what perceptions do they have generated and created, and how do they respond. And that is possible only when we understand the characteristics of the audiences. We are also going to talk about the social communication model. I believe everybody must have studied or might have gone through the social communication model, but we are going to once again reiterate on the same. And then how one's professional and personal life overlaps whenever we talk about communication, because generally people believe if we are talking about communication skills, it is useful only when they are using it in their professional career. Again, this is a myth. Every day, whenever you interact, if you have good communication skill, trust me, your relationship with your family will be good, your relationship with your friends would be very sound, smooth, and sweet ones. Your relationship with your professional friends, or maybe your colleagues, maybe with your teachers, maybe with the people, with the partners with whom you people are studying or living, definitely with every one of these, your life is going to be a cakewalk. So please understand that when we talk about communication, communication is all about developing relationship. And if you have good command on this particular skill, you can live very happily. And that happy living can bring lots of positive changes in your life. So moving ahead, when we talk about communication, Let us do a brief understanding actually what communication is, from where it has derived. Now, this communication word is derived from a Latin word which means communicar. Now, communicar is to share. Whenever we communicate, we are in fact sharing some information with others. There is some thought. Right now, Neeru has some certain thoughts in her mind, and she is willing to share these thoughts with her training students. Now, the trainees, whosoever are attending this particular session, they are listening to my thoughts. Now, once when you listen to my thoughts, you are trying to interconnect. The moment I said, look, if you improve your communication skill, you can have a better relationship or better bonding with your family members. You may start thinking. You may start thinking about some incident wherein you could not develop that better relationship. There is always a clash between you and your friend, maybe you and your brother, you and your sister, maybe you and your parents. So why that clashes comes? Why people cannot think according to your thought process? You want to say something but people react in a different way, isn't it? It happens. Say, for example, you want to say something and somebody else is saying something else. You want to communicate in a different way, but others perceived it in a different way. What I'm trying to say is every human being is unique. And because of this uniqueness, what happens is what you are thinking, others cannot think exactly in the same way that you all are thinking right now. So can I ask you all to show up in the video? We are going to have a small activity, very very small activity to make you all understand that yes, communication is very important and how we often fail in communication. For just 1 minute, I want you all to show up in your video. Uh, Unmute your videos and then please show up yourself, please, on your videos for just 1 minute. We are going to have a small activity in order to make you all understand that communication really matters. It matters a lot. So look here, this is not communication, isn't it? I have said you all to do something, and right now there is no response from you all. So this shows that probably you are engaged into multiple activities. Probably you are dealing into different things because of which it is taking time to respond. It is taking time to react exactly the way I want you all to act, right? So this is again barrier in communication, and this has to be like addressed. Otherwise, this time lapse will create problem. So may I request each one of you to show up in the video form for just a minute so that we can have this small activity. Each one of you in video mode.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, dear.
Ma'am, actually, I'm joining through Chrome, ma'am. So I'm not finding the option where to switch on the video, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So you can see those two icons, I believe. One, there will be a video icon. The other one would be the speaker icon. So you have
Ma'am,
to click
here
on the
there
video
are
icon.
four option. There are four options available here, ma'am. Chat,
Yes.
notes, participants, and settings, ma'am. In settings, only the audio is available, ma'am.
All right, all right. So probably this is being disabled. I can see one of the student over here. So let me have this small activity with her, and then we will come back. Okay. So can I request each one of you to please pay attention to what I am asking her to do. Even one person can help us in doing so. So let us do that. Let us enjoy this activity, and then accordingly we can definitely understand and see how we can we can come to know about the communication challenges. So Deepika, if you can help me out in sharing the video mode of each and every one, because everybody, this will be a small activity for a minute or so, so that they can understand really the differences between communication and how it is going to create difference in them.
Yes, ma'am. I
So,
all. Yes, ma'am.
so as we can say that this, I want you to please pay attention to what I'm saying. All right, you can do this at your place. Now look at my hand. This is big fish and this is small fish. All right. This is big fish and this is small fish. In general, the moment I say this is big fish, you all will say, no, she is wrong. This, in fact, is a small fish, and this goes as the big fish, isn't it? But you did not try to understand that the instructions that are given by me has to be followed by you, and consider this as big and this as small. Why you did not perceive? Because from our childhood days, it is being told and taught that this is small and this is big, isn't it? Once, when someone comes and says, this is big and this is small, we say, how is it possible? This is not possible because somewhere I am missing the norm. Somewhere I'm not following the instruction. Somewhere I am trying to break the rule. And what is that rule that I'm breaking? I'm breaking the rule of saying that what is big is now turned as small, and what is small has turned into big. And people will say that what she is trying to present is wrong. Why? Because we are tuned in such way. Often, when people say communication skill, they say, okay, I need to have good command of English language. And that is what communication skill is. Again, wrong. It's not about English language. It's about any language that we speak. And how do we speak and how do we communicate? We communicate through different signs, different symbol, different languages. And when we are talking about language, the difficult task is we know only one, two, or three languages, whereas across country in India, we have more than 1600 dialects, over 30 different languages, over 18 different manuscripts. Now, when we are having these different languages, different dialects, it becomes very difficult for us to communicate. And when we want to become good communicator, what is the basic thing that we have to do? We should try to develop more command on languages. Why? Because we are communicating with people, and people can understand only through language. Of course, animals and plants, they are emotionally, they are sensible, and so therefore they are connected with our expression. They are connected with our emotions and feelings. Sometimes even inanimate objects. So, for example, when we are connected with our mobile phone, when we are connected with our laptop, we start getting that feeling that without my phone, I'm nothing. Without my laptop, I'm nothing. These days, when you're going out, you may tend to forget everything except your phone. You will remember, you will recall it instantly. Did I carry my mobile phone? or my mobile phone is with me or not? Why are you thinking so? Because it's a source of communication. We want to bridge the gap. We want to build that gap, and that gap can be built only when we are trying to share our feelings, emotions, values. And when we talk ahead, the definition of communication says, now it's a process of conveying, intended meaning. What do we understand by the term intended? Intended means something which is meaningful, something which is purposeful, something that is very important for all of us. Now, if there is a meaning given to your thought, if there is a meaning given to your statement, if there is a meaning given to your idea, people will love to listen to you. Now, right now, Guna, when he says that I want to be so and so in future, Supriya wants to be something in future, Lavanya wants to be something in future, Chaitan wants to be something in future. Unless and until you do not share it with others, no one will come to know what exactly you are thinking, what exactly you aspire to be, what exactly your emotions and feelings are connected to. So, therefore, it is very important to give a proper meaning to our thought. I want to become rich. Vague statement. I want to be a chartered accountant. There is an emphasis that has been put on the word chartered accountant, and these two words shows how much clarity a person is having, and the communication becomes very clear. I wish that every one of us can really understand how to portray our thoughts in right form or in a proper sentence structure. Most of the time, we give monosyllable answers. Do you have a goal for your life? Quickly in the poll, I want to see how many of you have goals. How many of you have set your goal in your life? I do have one, but what about the others? Do you have any goal for yourself? How many of you have goals? We all have goals. We all have set different goals. But have we really communicated this goal plan with others? Have we really drafted a goal plan? Have we really drafted any kind of timeline? Or did we give any deadline to ourselves? Have we developed any small objective? Have we developed any kind of step by step strategy so that we can reach up to our plans in a proper way and we achieve success at the end of it? So, most of the time, we will see that it becomes difficult for us to really create that right emphasis. Why? Because our intended meaning, what I'm trying to say is, whatever we speak, whatever we are trying to say, whatever we write, whatever we read, we are reading it just for the sake of reading. We are writing it just for the sake of writing. We are speaking it just for the sake of speaking purpose. And we listen because we are forced to listen. But where is the interest? That interest is missing. So keep this in your mind that when we talk about communication, there is a beautiful technique which is called as IDA. I want each one of you to note this and keep this in your memory for a longer period of time. Whatever we want to intend, whatever we want to communicate, whatever we want to say, must apply the technique of IDA. Generally, this technique is applied by the marketing personals wherein they want to pitch their product, wherein they want to promote, wherein they want to advertise, wherein they want to sell their product. But this IDA technique is equally relevant in our day-to-day life. Now, what does this IDA AIDA acronym stands for? A is for attention. Do we really grab attention? I am saying something. Has it grabbed the attention of the listener or not? If it could not grab the attention, it has failed in communication. If it could grab the attention, it has passed in communication. So the moment you are talking about attention, the next letter related to this acronym, AIDA, A-I-D-A, I comes into picture, and I says interest. Show up the interest. Once when you have grabbed the attention, automatically you must try to reach up to the highest level of interest in the mind of the listener. The person should be anxious. The person should show enthusiasm. The person should show anxiety to know more. If that anxiety is there, what happens? That interest will generate into the third letter, that is desire. Desire to do, desire to act, desire to perform, desire to listen and know more and more and more, to explore further. And then finally, A, act. Say, for example, in your class, your teacher is teaching you something. And if the teacher enables to grab the attention of all the students in the class, what is going to happen? Or what generally happens? You will see there will be a small group of students who keep murmuring, isn't it? They go on murmuring, whispering, and they keep troubling the class. Your teacher is very good. Your teacher is very good at teaching. But they are finding difficult to communicate with the complete class. Why? Because there is a group wherein he or she has failed to create that attention. And if that attention is missing, there won't be any interest, and that is the reason why the group goes on gossiping, the group goes on troubling the complete class, and that desire to listen is not there. And then what is the act which is happening? It is contradicting to what the teacher is willing the class to do. So grab this important technique in your communication, so that whatever intentions you have, what exactly you want to intend to share, should be shared in a right way. Because every place, wherever you are going to work, even if you're going to work in a government organization, if you're working with a private organization, if you're working with multinational organization, if you're working with non-government or non-profitable organization, keep this in your mind. You're going to deal with people. And dealing with people is possible only when you have good communication skill. And that is the reason why not only in India, globally, people are talking about employability skills. And in this employability skill, the major skill is communication. And under this major skill of communication, we find it very difficult presently in the youth. We are not able to find the true sense of communication. What do we understand by true sense of communication? Whatever you want to communicate, whatever you want to convey, whatever thoughts that you have there in your mind, which you want to express, are you able to express the same with clarity? Are you able to express the same exactly the way the other person is willing to listen? Are you able to express your thoughts in such a way wherein the other person can understand exactly the same thing that you want to deliver? When this misses, what happens? Communication fails. What we believe? Communication fails because of what reasons? We don't know. But we say that, oh, look, his communication is poor. Oh, look, she is very good at communication skills. Only by speaking, you cannot judge whether the person's communication skill is good or bad. We have to give equal emphasis to listening, speaking, versing, reading, and writing. Now, if we do not give equal importance to these four, we tend to commit mistakes. And because of this, it becomes challenge for each one of us to communicate in the right, fruitful way. So I believe the people whosoever are attending today's training session, at least from now onwards, you should keep questioning yourself. If I say one single line, are the people, the one who are listening, can they understand exactly the same information that is perceived by me, matches exactly to their thought process? If I'm saying black and if I see the dark pitch black color, are you seeing exactly the dark pitch black color? Or do you see something else? If you're seeing something else, that means I failed to communicate the thing in a right way or a wrong way. I failed to communicate. If it is right, you will see the same imagination, the same image. If I fail, your thoughts will never ever match with my thought. So, matching the thought process is very, very important. And generally, people do not focus on this particular segment. And that is the reason why many a times very good speakers, the one who can speak flamboyant English without any mistake, without giving a gap, they nail each and every word, they nail each and every chord, they try to portray good language, they try to present great oratory words, they try to add lots of oratory language skills, but ultimately they find it difficult to share their opinion. And where are they finding the difficulties? They are thinking only from one single perspective, that is from speaker's point of view. Whereas communication is not from the speaker's point of view. Communication is beyond the speaker's point of view. And what is it that we have to emphasize on? It is something which will be like this. Now, look at this slide. I want each one of you to go through the captions which are mentioned, and you will see exactly something like this is happening in our day to day life, everyday life. Now, to help you people understand, the emphasis is given on this particular thing. All right, this is the end customer's reality, the requirement that is quoted by the customer. But when we start projecting, the projections may vary as per the understanding of others. Each person, as I said, we are unique. You will see that because of our unique individuality, because of our different knowledge levels, because of our different demographies, as we are born and brought up in different places, we are surrounded with different people, and these different people will have different level of experiences and understanding. So those all compile together, and because of that compilation of thought process, what happens, we start thinking in different way. You will see that someone, there is a customer who says that he is willing to have a swing attached to a tree. Now the projected sponsor may have some other thoughts. The request that is made by the people, so for example the one who is going to prepare that, the architecture may have a different thought, the designer may have a different thought, The person whosoever is constructing may have a different thought. And so ultimately, if a customer is willing to have a swing, he may be given some totally different product. And why is this gap? The gap is only because what intended information was to be shared was wrongly interpreted by different people because of their different mindsets. Same thing goes with you. Many a times when you are writing an answer, you might have written an answer wherein you believe your answer is right. But as per the knowledge and as per the experience of your teacher, you see that your answers are not fetching either the total marks or your expectation building or the expectation that your teacher owns based on her delivery, based on his delivery, is missing. And because of that, what happens is you're unable to bridge the gap. So, communication says that are people understanding the thought process properly or not? Now, I am exaggerating this, I'm stretching this. Why? Because if you can really nail this particular statement in a proper way, if you can really keep this in your mind forever, you will start improving your communication skill immediately, spontaneously. Many times I see people, they are they want to speak a lot, they want to communicate a lot, but they find difficult, or they are unable to find words, they are unable to find statement, they are unable to find right set of words to communicate. Why? Because you are actually unable to picturize the thing in a right way. Your imagination is out of the blue, goes to some other images wherein then you get confused. Am I on the right track? Am I sharing the information in a right way or not? Are my statements correct or not? And in that state of dilemma, we lose our confidence. So remember those three C's: content, communication, confidence. The content matters a lot. Here you can see that intended message was not clearly intended to each one of them. Instead of saying, I need a swing, instead of saying, I want a swing attached to a tree, if I just sketch up, or even if I draw my statement with clarity, people will not be at toss. Each one will be on the same page. But unfortunately, nobody was on the same page. Why? Because here the delivery was missing. The delivery of the intended information was missing. And because of that failed delivery, what has happened? People could not reach up to the conclusion in a right way. So keep this in your mind that whenever we are talking about sharing information, it is very, very important to identify what you want to share, how you want to share, and how much do you want to share, because that again matters a lot. And how can we bring that effectiveness in our communication? By providing practical information. Try to be more practical oriented. Whenever you are communicating, add more facts, add more figures, add more relevant points. Don't cook stories. I'm not asking you to give your vague statements. I'm not even asking you to give some false statement. But wherever possible, try to be more practical, because communication talks about your experiences. Communication is talking about your experiments. So therefore, you should speak about your experiments and experiences with practicality. Try to give value to your statements. Add relevant information with examples. And don't try to elaborate it, The more you elaborate what is going to happen, people will not lose their interest. So therefore, keep it as short, as simple as you can. Expectations should be very clear. Knowing each other's responsibility should be very clear. If you do not know exactly what is it that is expected from you, what exactly the roles and responsibilities that are there given to you, you will find it difficult to deliver your part of roles in a better way. So therefore, have the clarity related to expectation, have the clarity related to the responsibility. Right now, we have only one single expectation, that each one of you, whosoever is going to use communication skill, from now onwards, you're going to use it in an effective way. And when I say using communication skill in an effective way, what we are trying to convey, give importance to your statements. Even if you're singing, even if you are saying one single line, even if you are uttering one single statement, each line, each statement must be considered as very important. It must have equal importance in your life as well as listeners' life. And then finally, try to compel. Compel means try to attract the attention of the audience. Let them buy your statement. Let them understand that why are you emphasizing, why are you focusing on the different statements? Why is this so important? And unless and until you are not going to compel, remember the technique IDA: attention, interest, desire, action. If these four are not in sync, if these four are not well knitted and well connected, you will see, even though you are saying a wonderful statement, people will have no value. I don't know how many of you are fond of watching movies, but how many of us would love to watch those movies which win the national awards? How many of us would really love to watch those movies which are winning the national award for documentation? So you will see that very rarely, very few of us show up our interest in these things. Why? Because IDA is missing. It's not going to grab your attention because you don't have your interest. And as you do not have your interest, there is no desire to watch such movie. And action, what is the last thing that we are talking about? Action. You don't even pay any attention to it. You give a damn thought of watching such movies. But the moment if your favorite actor's movie releases, even if it is on OTT platform, you are a die-hard fan of that particular actor, and so what do? You immediately install the app and then you watch that movie. You don't want to miss it. Why? Because that particular action has grabbed your attention, which has generated lots and lots of interest, making you feel desire to act accordingly. So keep this in your mind that this is very important. And if you do this, you're going to have a great command on your communication. So if you are going to ask me, the first and the most important lesson is the message that you are trying to deliver, the intended message should be clear. To whom, what, why, how. Remember these three words: what, why, how. What is it that I want to communicate? How should I communicate? And why should I communicate? If you can question these three with suitable answer, you will always see every statement that you are saying, it is going to be a bullseye. And that is going to help you to reach up to your audience in a proper way. So be more practical in your statement. Say, for example, if tomorrow you are attending a group discussion session, if you are attending any interview, if you are sitting in front of a panel and they are asking you certain questions related to Viva, A vague statement, something that you have read without understanding, without that emotional connect, will always fetch you low score. But immediately to that particular statement, if you can explain with your examples, if you can explain with your experiences, certainly it is going to bring good score, good mark, and will have more importance in your real life. So keep these 5 important statements in your mind, that be more practical towards communication. Try to add relevant points, relevant figure, relevant facts. Try to add points, but do not exaggerate. Exaggeration in the sense trying to stretch it so badly that it is going to break. So don't exaggerate it. Keep it as short, as simple you can. Expectations should be very clearly defined. Roles and responsibilities should be very clearly defined, because moment you communicate, you should know what role you are playing, what role the listeners are going to play, and then compel them to listen to you. Force them to understand what exactly you want to communicate. And then finally, if you do so, what is going to happen? You're going to reach out to this particular model, wherein this model says that as a person, whenever you are trying to share any information, you should have that clarity in your mind. Without an idea, can we communicate? Today, I am taking or I'm delivering this training session without having a thought what exactly the requirement of the audience would be. If I deliver something which is out of a blue, very interesting, but is of no use, though you may listen to me very attentively, but you are not going to store it in your memory box for a long period of time. Reason is very simple, because that idea did not match to your thought process. So, as a speaker, as a sender of the information, the idea that emerges, the idea that comes in our mind, the thought that comes into our mind, the process of information that is coming out of our mind, we should be very clear about it. Whether the idea is approachable or not, whether the idea is transmittable or not, can I convey it in words or not? If you can convey it in words, go for it. What are you going to do? Once when the idea has come in your mind, once when you want to communicate, you have to convert it, you have to transcribe it, you have to change it in vernacular language or maybe some language. You have to transcribe it in the language which you can speak and which others can listen and understand. And once that is done, you don't keep that, you do not keep that transcription only up to you. You share it with others through a mode, through a medium, through a channel. Right now, my channel is Let's Connect. My channel of connecting with my students is Let's Connect. You are getting connected with me with the help of this Let's Connect. So this Let's Connect is our channel. The language that I'm communicating is English. Probably I may not be able to speak your mother tongue. You may not be able to speak my mother tongue, but we have overcome our gap by trying to understand with this language which is called as English. So our medium and mode, that is channel and medium, should be very clear. If that is not going to get eliminated, it will lead to the right word which is quoted in the chat box by Mr. Gunashekar, miscommunication. That will be a communication gap. Now, similarly, the audience also must be able to understand the message exactly the way we want to communicate to them. Receiving the message is only halfway done. After receiving the message, do they understand it exactly the same way that we have communicated? Do they respond? Now, many a times we see that people, they are very poor at communication, Why do we call them as poor at communication? Because they understand, but they do not respond. Say, for example, your teacher is explaining you a topic which is tough to understand. She tried to explain the difficulties or the complex topic by breaking it into a very small or simplex way, by breaking it into small chunks and pieces, and then she assimilated, she pulled it, and then made you understand the complete information in a better way. And then she asks you a question. Were you all able to understand? Everybody understood, but if there is silence in the class, what is going to happen? You all could understand the most difficult, the most complex, the most complicated subject or the topic, but the class is absolute silent. Now, what is going to happen? Teacher will be in doubt. Teacher will be in utter confusion. He or she may think, students, as they did not respond, they might have failed to understand the concept, though this did not happen. And why are they thinking so? Because there is no response. So please make sure whenever you are communicating, if you are the audience and if somebody has asked certain questions to you, or there is some statement wherein you need to respond to that particular person, you have to respond it quickly, immediately. I made a phone call to you all, and if you can listen to my voice, and in return, if you do not say hello ma'am or hello Neeru, how are you, what is it that you have made a call for, I will think that you are not listening to me, or there is a gap between our communication, and due to which I may disconnect. Why? Because I did not get the response. So let us understand that when we say communication, it's a two-way process. When we say two-way process, it's a two-way process between the sender of the information and the receiver of the information. Now, whatever the modes of communication are, could be speaking, could be through listening, could be through writing, could be through reading, everywhere. You should remember, no response, that means it's going to give gap. That means it's going to create misleading perception in the mind of the communicator. So respond quickly. Try to reach up to the expectation of the audience. You should respond as spontaneous as you can. And finally, send a feedback. Now, in case if I am requesting you all to share a feedback, now most of the time, how do we share feedbacks? We believe if something is good, we should appreciate it. If something is bad, I don't know, can we say or not? If something was not good, can we really point it out? Can we really highlight and focus on improving those things which were not good? We become so skeptical in our thoughts, we are so judgmental in our thoughts that we are scared of giving the true feedback. And without giving true feedback, then we expect that communication should be good. Now, here you are creating a bridge, or you are creating distance between you and the communicator because you did not share the true feedback. And so, therefore, moment somebody says sharing feedback, please remember, be very earnest, be very honest. Share your feedback in a right way. Share your feedback. If something is black, it is black. If something is white, it is white. You cannot say gray. You cannot say half white. You cannot say light black. Something like this. You cannot create good things for each and every time. You should remember feedback sharing is very important, and the feedback values a lot. Because of this feedback, you can improve your communication skill. And when this feedback is shared in a proper way, it is going to help you to overcome the barriers of communication. Now, why are we discussing about the barriers of communication? Because we know to communicate, information should be shared. The information is moving from sender to the receiver, and even as the response, it is coming back from the receiver to the sender. And this process goes on in the form of a cycle. But many a times, the cycle may break. And what is leading to the break in the cycle could be the semantic barriers. Now, what do we understand by semantic barriers? Probably the vocabulary that the person is using is too tough to understand. The language that is used by the person is too tough to understand. The person is using jargons. The person is using those technical terms which a layman cannot understand in his or her day-to-day life. Please remember, using jargons at your workplace is different. For example, when you are studying, when you are pursuing your courses, you may give acronym to your course, isn't it? But using the same acronym in front of other who is not pursuing that particular course will create confusion. So therefore, those are the jargons. The jargons are those technical terms. Jargons are those uncommon or unfamiliar terms which are generally used by few of the people, and if you communicate with the help of jargons, it creates confusion. So avoid using unfamiliar words, avoid using tough vocabularies, avoid using unfamiliar statements, avoid using ambiguous words, the word which will give double meaning statements. Do not use so. And even the wrong translation, many a times we interpret in a wrong way, isn't it? So you must have seen, you might have seen, you must have come across certain friends of yours, though they are poor at listening, they believe that they have listened exactly the way the person wanted to communicate, and they come and express something else. So wrong translations should be avoided. If you overcome these, there are other barriers which may create hindrance in communication. Let us understand these two. The second is socio-psychological barriers, perceptual differences. Now, last year, 2020, wherever I was teaching, my students, when they moved on from traditional classroom teaching to online mode, they were using mobile phones continuously, like you people must have done. Now, when you are using mobile phones for a longer period of time, before lockdown and after lockdown, your parents were watching you. Before lockdown, if the same mobile phone that was used by you to revise certain video lectures or to watch certain video lectures of some other professors, or maybe to learn something else, your parents were always blaming, isn't it? What was the blame story? I always see my child busy with his or her mobile. You are not using your time in a right way. I wanted to quote this word, prejudice. Now, our parents do live with prejudices. They believe if a mobile phone is in your hand, either you are WhatsApping to your friends, you are chatting with your friends, or you are playing games, or you are watching movie, or you are listening to songs, or you are enjoying on some games. They never believe that the same mobile phone can be utilized for some better purpose too. Now the scenario has changed tremendously during the lockdown time. Even when you might be playing games, but if that was the span from 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock during your college lectures, they will Be with that perception that no, my child is busy with his mobile attending his or her classes. That perceptual difference that leads to barrier. There was a barrier earlier, there is a barrier even now. Because of that perception, what happens? Communication fails. Attitudinal differences. Your thinking is different, my thinking is different. You're using mobile for some other purpose, I'm using mobile for some other purpose. So if the purposes vary, automatically there will be a clash, and because of that clash, it leads to communicational barrier. Conflicting signals. You are sharing some message, some image, you have different thought while sharing the message. I understood in a different way. This is again related to the first and second one. Perceptual mixing with the attitude leading to conflict, and that conflict will lead to communication barrier. Similarly, there can be other barrier which can be named as personal barriers. This could be related to our emotional conflict. Emotional conflict happens when we do not have the same vibrations, when we are not having the same frequency matching with others. I'm thinking in a different way, the other person is thinking in a different way, and we cannot sync our thought process. It leads to emotional conflict. My mother do not listen, or my mother cannot understand my emotions, my feelings. Always there will be a conflict. Similarly, people who are very poor at listening. I don't know how many of you are blessed with a brother and sister. I do have my younger sister. I say one complete line, but out of that one complete line, she will pick a couple of words because she's into selective listening, and then she act accordingly. Based on her action, what she does never matches my expectation. Never. And that has led to a distance between me and my sister. And why this has happened? It's only because of her poor listening skills. Many a time, my student, when I write an email or when I'm trying to deliver lectures, they are engaged into many things. They say that, ma'am, it's online class. We are multitaskers. We can do multiple things simultaneously along with listening to your lecture. So, while doing so, they do not listen to my words, my sessions in a proper way. And then during examination, when I quote some questions from those important segments that I have discussed, that I have shared, that I have delivered, they miss and they say, ma'am, you never explained us this. I did, but you could not listen. Why? Because of your poor listening skill, and you failed to answer that. Similarly, retention. We tend to forget things because of poor listening. Automatically, the memory will be very short. So, poor retention and premature evaluation. Most of the time, whenever we talk about training sessions related to communication skill, most of the time people believe communication is something which is least to be bothered. In India, out of 1 lakh students who are pursuing their graduation program, in the first semester, whenever they are asked to improve their communication skill, only 0.03% of the population pays attention and attend those classes related to personality development and communication skill with great emphasis. But slowly and steadily, when they are into their final semester, and when they have to attend those placements, and when they have to attend those interviews, when they have to crack those interviews, and when they are on the verge of completion of the course, then they start paying attention. Premature evaluation, that means, what is it there for me? Why should I listen now? Why should I do it right now? I do have enough of time. I have enough of time for my development. And that is the reason why you will see most of the time there are good number of jobs, ample of job available in the market, but we do not have right people. Why we don't have right people? Whereas they do have the degrees, they do have good percentage, they have scored so well. The only answer to this particular statement is they did not emphasize on this small skill which is named as communication. This premature evaluation, that means why should I do this right now? What will I gain out of it? Without listening to a person, without dealing in those activities, without practicing, I did not find anything interesting in this particular session. Were you 100% involved? Did you follow all the instructions? Were you really paying attention? Have you followed all the instructions and then did you act accordingly? If yes, how can you fail? If no, you need to check. You have to see, are you really applying the technique of IDA or not? And finally, the last communication barrier, that is physical barriers. This is again very common. Noise can be one of the barriers. Distance could become once again one of the barrier. Faulty equipment. So for example, we are connected through internet, but if there is a poor internet connectivity, I may not be able to deliver my lecture in a right way. So therefore, that faulty equipment should be avoided. My speaker, if that is not good, my camera, if that is not good, again, faulty equipments, I have to work out on them so that the communication can happen in a proper way. And right amount of time, the quantum of time that we spend should be the good one. So if you overcome these barriers, right from semantic to psychological to the personal barriers of human understanding and to the physical barriers, you will see whatever you want to communicate, you will be doing it in a better way. Now, a small practice that each one of you should do is, how many of you have asked questions when somebody was saying a statement and then you did not listen and then you said, can you repeat? Now, today, after attending this session, I want you all to practice this and come up with your response tomorrow. Try to listen to others without emphasizing on what they are saying, whether it is really important or unimportant. Don't judge. Don't give premature evaluation. Don't create that attitudinal differences between your thought process and the other's thought process, because this is going to help you to become good listener. Because if you are a good listener, certainly this training program is going to add value, bring positive change in your communication skill. This is my assurity to you all. So dear friends, in our today's class, we discussed that when we are talking about communication skill, the definition, though there are different definitions, though there can be hundreds of definitions, remember the two words, that is intended message. Now this intended message should be rightly delivered. Why? Because the audience, if they cannot understand this intended message in a right way, they cannot respond accordingly. And when you are delivering this intended message, you should always see that the barriers that we have discussed, such as the semantic barrier related to language, or the socio-psychological barrier related to our thought process, or our personal barriers related to our relationship, or the physical barriers, which could be related to noise, time, equipment, or even distance, should be eliminated, should be avoided, so that this free flow of communication continuously happens. And if this free flow of communication happens, how can we portray our thought? How can we present our ideas? How can we caricature the imagination that is there in our mind in a right way so that people can understand our thought process in exactly the way that you want to communicate? So, this is the brief of what communication is all about. In tomorrow's class, we are going to talk about two different concepts: the importance of verbal and non-verbal, plus the 7 pillars of communication. Because if we know what is verbal and non-verbal and its impact on communication, and then what are the 7 pillars that can act as a litmus to your communication, that will help us to improve on our communication skill. Are there any doubts related to today's session? Can I get a quick feedback from you all? So, are you people enjoying the session, please? So, Guna, the question is, while communicating, I want you to emphasize: do you ask people to repeat the question, or are you understanding the statement without repetition of the statement very clearly? And do you respond accordingly? All right. So this can be a small activity kind of thing wherein you can ask your parents to ask you different question, but don't tell them that this is a small activity that your teacher has delivered to you. The training is going on, so I am asking you the questions, or you are requested to ask the question so that I can judge my skills. But be it at a random. All right. So it could be a phone call wherein your friends, they may not be knowing that you are attending this session. You try to find out, are you good at listening? All right. So are you really trying to grab that nerve of your friend? Check that out. All right. So any other questions related to today's session? And how is the session? Are you really enjoying, liking it? Thanks, Guna. Thank you for writing that you have no doubts. Thank you, Lavanya, for that statement, dear. So, and then I also request you to rename yourself so that I'll come to know, because there are certain numbers that are being mentioned wherein it becomes difficult for me to give you your names. So I would love to call you with your name rather than calling with some numbers. So therefore, I'll appreciate that. All right then. So see you tomorrow once again at the same time, 11 o'clock till 12:30. Till then, I want you to give me a small opinion on your communication skill. All right. The activity that I have shared will definitely help you to improve. Of course, this is going to help you, Sunanda, because to be very honest, in the last 20 years, I'm teaching, or this is my 22nd year of teaching. In the last 22 years, I traveled in 18 different states of India. And in these 18 different states, I have come across fantastic students who are very good at knowledge, who are very good at like technical concepts. But somewhere they don't express. So communication is another word. If you ask me as a teacher of communication skill, you should be able to express. If you are able to express your thought and process in a right way, people will find good relationship, and that will help you to become great buddies. You will have a great networking. The moment this expression misses, what is going to happen is too tough for the other person to get connected. So I will really, my emphasis is, if you ask me, my goal, my ambition is like other countries where students are speaking their expressions without any gap, wherein they present their thought in a fantastic word, or I should say that wherein the thoughts are free. I would like to quote the line which Rabindranath Tagore has written, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. See, when he said, where the mind is without fear, this fear of lack of knowledge, lack of confidence, lack of communication skills, this again creates problem. I want you all to live life king size without any fear, and that fearless mind can come only when you have great command on content, great command on confidence with communication skill. All right. So thank you very much for attending today's class. See you all tomorrow on a new topic, that is verbal and non-verbal and the seven pillars of communication. Till then, do take care of yourself. Maintain social distancing. Do understand that your life is very important, and at the same time, maintain social distancing not only for yourself but also for the well-being of others. Have a fantastic day ahead. God bless you all. Take care, dear.